Studio check.
Frequencies check.
We are live on air.
You are listening to the In Fact blessing the airwaves. Take the journey into the world of sports, news, entertainment, while embracing the hottest beats on the planet. Rocking the mind, body, and with energy, electricity, and a splash of controversy. Now, without further ado, it's our pleasure to bring to you
The biggest show in the world.
The biggest show in the world.
the biggest show in the world, the SBTV Nation.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Happy Friday, happy weekend to you. It's 6 p.m. It is 4/21 of April, and we are here getting ready for the warm weather and getting ready for the NBA and NHL playoffs tonight. And I got my man, the Dream, on the line. Son,
Yes!
great night last night.
Last night was what I like to call one of the SBTV Nation specials. You know what I'm saying? Last night it was like the epitome of what we do and why we're on and what we talk about. As we hopefully saved a bunch of people from messing with the Spurs, because I talked about the Grizzlies and the adversity. We hopefully got a bunch of people on the Edmonton Oilers and on the Pittsburgh Penguins. Implemented the Milwaukee Bucks into his. We even slid you some baseball.
The Phillies.
As we took the Phillies last night on top of the mix. I was into the over on the Cavs game as well. We threw out a lot of tidbits on this show, you know, just based on, listen, gang, playoff basketball and hockey. Me and Hat, I mean, we got years of experience in this, and I'm not the biggest one loving to run around talking about I got 30 years in the
Why not, son?
Whatever, like that doesn't really mean all that. But we got years of doing this, and you do get a feel for this kind of stuff over the years. And there's certain things if you look for and you watch, and there's certain signs that hopefully, you know, me and Hat pick up that we want to kick it over to the audience, and you know. That's what this whole thing's all about, and I'm just happy that we could be a part of it.
No doubt. Well, there's one spot that usually happens, but I'm not going to go anywhere near it, and that is the Indiana Pacers are down 0-3 to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I got to be honest with you. When you lose a lead of 25 points, that's really got to hurt your feelings, bro. So I don't even know how you come out in the next game. What do you?
but see, here's my thing, and this is what I call situational situations. I absolutely love the Indiana Pacers in the next game.
Really?
And I'm going to tell you why. Because the Cleveland Cavaliers will not have any, urgency to win that next game. They're going to go through the motions. Of course, yeah, if they get up, I mean, they're going to be competitive. They're going to play. But as far as coming out gangbusters and trying to beat Indiana, they're not going to come out with that attitude. The Indiana Pacers, though, are going to come out with the attitude of, dude, we don't want to get swept. We don't want to get swept at home top of it.
Right.
You know, we know we could play with this team. We've been up on this team a few times. They're going to do all they can do to get a win this next game. I really love the Indiana Pacers in the next game. And I know that the Cleveland Cavaliers will play them tough for a while, but if Indiana keeps that 10 to 12 point lead and then goes up by like maybe, 15, the Cavs will be like, you know what, we'll get them at home. Because that's the Cavs' personality at this season.
You know what? You pose a different point, and I kind of agree with you here. But you know what? I mean, you get LeBron James in the playoff stream. How many games in the playoffs does he take off? Not many.
It's not LeBron James I'm worried about. I mean, I'll give LeBron James his. It's the other cast and characters around him that make that. And, you know, something needs to be said about the NBA and big leads in general, though. I mean, we've noticed this trend. You know, it has seemed to have been noticeable for a few years now. I get uncomfortable when a team comes out to a commanding lead, with the exception of the Bucks last night. But you got to be careful sometimes. You get these 20 to 25-point leads at the half going into the early third quarter. I don't know what happens to NBA teams as far as their intensity once they get this lead, but it's like they fall asleep. I mean, we've seen the Cavs do it. What? Right before the playoffs, the Cavs did it twice.
Why do you think it's been so successful taking double-digit underdog stream? It's been awesome. Like the last 2 months of the NBA, we absolutely crushed it. We made a lot of money with that just because, you know what, if you're up 10 to 12 and you're given 13 and there's a minute left, you're just dribbling the basketball out. You don't care at all. And you know what, even with that, I mean, if you take a live line with the underdog, you're like plus 5,000 in some of those situations. I'll be honest with you. I didn't know if I had a feeling that Spurs may come back because they kept pulling within like 9, 13, 12, and I was like, oh, no. And sure enough.
And guys, the Spurs game, we talk about adversity, and we talk about sometimes in sports when people, individuals, coaches, players, et cetera, come out and say stuff that's off the wall. And then guys are like, you know what, why did he do that? Or why did he say that? Or why did he do that? And the reason he does that and the reason he says that is exactly what came to fruition with this Grizzlies game last night. The coach implemented a little bit of fire into his guys by going ham to the refs, getting in the refs' ass, talking about, Conley's a good player, never had a technical or whatever have you, and these guys are treating us like rooks. I know Pop's the OG, but whatever. I mean, all of this was the adversity that his team needed to step their game up against the Spurs. Because honestly speaking, I'll tell you, I'm going to say this. If Dude doesn't make that press conference and blabbermouth to those refs, I think the Grizzlies would have got swept.
Well, they've gotten swept the last 2 times they played the Spurs in the playoffs.
No doubt.
So, and I recall that, and I remember that. So, and I'm sure, the added fire of that definitely brought some, what's the word, a sense of urgency out there, Dream. And you know what? They handled the Spurs pretty well.
They handled the Spurs well. I mean, I absolutely positively think the Spurs probably murdered him next game.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go crazy with this. By the way, don't think the Grizzlies can win. Okay, don't let last night fool you. Don't think the Grizzlies can win. I absolutely think the Spurs will come out, but I think that the adversity and it's one thing. It's that thing. You know what I mean? If anybody's played sports or done anything competitive, it's that little extra something that somebody does to you to get you to step your level up just that much one time. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just to step it up one time and be like, you know what, dude? Like, you playing me. You know what? This is unnecessary. I'm going to show you what's up. Like, I could do this. And that's where I think the Grizzlies were at last night. And I was really worried about, and I spotted it because I really felt, and remember I said it in the show, I said, I don't like the fact that the coach called everybody out, called out the refs. I think that the Grizzlies will respond, and they did. So that being done, Grizzlies got their little response game out of their system. Now they can go back to losing.
I agree with you, Dream. All right, so, going back to last night, I mean, the Grizzlies win by 11 points. The Milwaukee Bucks laid the smacketh down on the Toronto Raptors. So, my question to you is, do the Bucks win this series, Dream?
Yes, they do.
You know what?
This is drubbing.
You know what? You've had these teams in the East, like the Atlanta Hawks and like the Washington Wizards, and you've had the class of the teams that aren't going to win the East for the last 2 years, being the Toronto Raptors. And you know what? You get punched in the face by the Cleveland Cavs a couple of years now. You're almost like, this team might run out of gas here, and the Bucks are hungry. Wow. Jason Kidd's got this team playing like animals right now. So, you know what? I did say I liked this series. I did not play it, though. It was like a plus 300, I think, Dream, for the Bucks to win this series. But I didn't have the testicular fortitude to put it in. I didn't play any series at all.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm upset. I'm really upset about it. But whatever, it is what it is. Because I got, listen, whatever money I would have made, I made last night. So I'm good. So it doesn't really matter. So, you know what? I got a pretty good feel for the series now. So we'll see. Because they got to play another game in Milwaukee coming up. If they could go up, if they could go up 3-1, they're in pretty good shape.
I think the Bucks securely have this series in hand. I think the Bucks are a very dangerous team right now with the way they play. However, that being said, I do have defensive discrepancies with some of the things I see the Bucks do. You know, Toronto's a good team. Toronto's run by two guys, DeRozan and Lowry. Okay, and these guys, they're good players. Good players. They're not, to me, great players. Okay, they both can be shut down. And they both have their issues. So I'm not going to go crazy about DeRozan and Lowry, and I'm not going to go crazy about if the Bucks emerge from this series because it's not that big of a deal and it's not that big of a surprise to me. This series could have went, either way. And I did think that Toronto would win this series because I felt that Lowry and DeRozan's ability for dribble penetration and to get the ball to the basket in need-be situations when they need scoring would countermine anything that the Bucks could do. However, the Bucks have proven that they have been able to overcome that and supply their own offense. So we'll give the nod to the Bucks. As far as I'm concerned, at this point, I think the Bucks win this series hands down. I got them winning the next game at home. I have Toronto winning one game back in Toronto, and then the Bucks closing out. But Toronto could very well. The Bucks could very well get the game in Toronto as well.
Got to be a sense of urgency if they fall down 3-1. I kind of like them in Game 5, to be honest with you.
I love them in Game 5.
Yeah.
I do.
All right. So, all right, man. Well, anyway, hey, that was the NBA, and we're going to get into the NHL, Dream.
Hold on, Hat. We're not finished with the NBA
Okay.
as Rajon Rondo is out indefinitely with a broken thumb. Okay, so I know that Rondo and this team has not had the greatest chemistry. So keep that in mind before everybody goes, Celtics got a little advantage. So I'm not going to go crazy with that because, by the way, nobody was feeling each other like a month ago.
Yeah,
okay,
right.
Rondo was on the bench and everybody else was playing and Rondo was complaining. So keep that in mind moving forward before everybody gets ready to get excited about the Celtics here. The other issue in this is Rondo steps down, next man steps up. Team knows how to play without him. He is a point guard, but think about Rondo's points a game. The only thing that Rondo, as far as I'm concerned, you lose with Rondo being out is just veteran playoff leadership. You lose that. However, Dwayne Wade is there.
Yeah, right.
The Phenom and Butler is still there. I'm not going to go crazy, and I'm sorry, Boston Celtic backers. I don't see you getting out the house that MJ built at all. You're going to get out with a loss, 2 losses, head on home, watch the games on TV for the rest of the series.
Well, you know what? The reason why the Bulls are killing them, it's not because of Rondo anyway.
It's not.
It's because of the rebounds. I mean, they're just so much bigger than the Boston. That's why, Dream. That's why the Cavs murdered the Celtics because
Agreed.
They're just bigger.
Agreed.
The bigs are. I mean, you're not pulling rebounds down. You can't get. Listen, if you don't pull rebounds down, you got to make every shot. If you're not making the shots, you're dead. So
No.
I don't know. So I mean, listen, if Lopez went down, then I'd be like, that's a little bit different, because you got mostly point guard driven basketball team. So I don't know, man. We'll see. We'll see how it all shakes out.
The thing is, though, still, I mean, you can't get around veteran leadership. I mean, and you can't speak enough about that. You can't speak enough about Rondo's decisions as a point guard and a facilitator, who gonna get the ball to, which offenses to run, what to do. I'm not gonna discredit his ability to make that happen, which I think is definitely an edge for the Bulls. But I gotta be honest with you, Rondo going down now after the Bulls already got their 2 games won in Boston is not as big of an issue as Rondo having gone down prior to that.
Really good point, because it's amazing too, Dream, because the Chicago Bulls with the injury have gone to a 2-point underdog at home in this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Chicago was
minus,
to know.
Chicago was minus 1.5 to open this game up, and it's flip flop. The Sharps, Dream, moving the lines, and the Rondo injury.
Good. So who are the Sharps on? Are they on the Celtics?
Well, I think the injury. I'm just kidding about the Sharps. I think the injury, the Rondo injury, is why it flip flopped 3.5 points. But I don't know if he's. I mean, like I said, I don't think he's been doing all that much.
I don't think it's. Like I said, yes, it's a setback, and yes, it's a small snub. I don't think it's enough to now say that the Celtics are clearly having an advantage, especially what's going on with the Celtics mentally, on top of the other stuff that they're facing, being down 2-0, going into Boston and getting ready to try to beat the Celtics in the house that MJ built. I don't see it going down. And in case it's no surprise to you right now, I like the Chicago Bulls tonight to win this game.
Really?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And, well, you know what? I mean, Rondo did pull down a lot of boards, believe it or not, in the last game, but he only had 11 points. So, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, it does change their game up a little bit, Dream. Who's going to start in his place, you know? So, that's something you got to take a look at. So, going through, hey, listen, we'll get back into tonight's plays. You want to recap hockey, or you want to continue with the NBA before we do that? It's up to you.
No, we can recap hockey. Let's get into the hockey and talk about the hockey gang. I have to apologize, as I did talk about the Chicago Blackhawks at the onset of the playoffs. I thought that they were a stellar pick versus the Predators. It just didn't just go down like that. I mean, the Blackhawks. Honestly, if the Blackhawks hadn't won 2 years ago, they should think about being agitated with everybody on the team. I mean, everybody. Because this was an embarrassing series for them. You know, you work hard all season long. You do your due diligence. You do what you have to do. You have an outstanding record. You dominate the teams you're supposed to dominate. You handle your business. And then you go into this series and you don't score any more than, I think they scored 3 goals was what they scored in the whole series. That's embarrassing.
It is embarrassing. I agree with you.
It's embarrassing. You put up 1 score last night. 1 score. That's embarrassing. And Taze is the one who puts it up. Now, I know that Blackhawks have had a lot of success. Won the Stanley Cup a couple years ago. You know, Taze and Kane have done their thing. You did have that adversity with Kane as far as the sexual assault thing that went down. I don't know. But I got to be honest with you. In the offseason, the Blackhawks need to do some soul searching and maybe look at a goalie for some a new goalie for this team, because I got to be honest with you, this is a bad loss. It's a bad loss by a Predator team that's got a little bit of age on them. They got an older goalie who hadn't played that well most of the season. This team hadn't been that strong most of the season, and going and beat the Blackhawks like this. They got swept.
Swept, I know.
That's embarrassing.
And they lost that other game 5-0. I was like,
embarrassing.
Over the weekend.
On the flip side of that, you got the Pittsburgh Penguins, repeat champions, just looking. I mean, dude, the Penguins, what they do to you, power play kill, offensively, defensively, goalie, the whole package, it's just ugly. Columbus Blue Jackets, don't fool yourself. One of the better teams in the East. Do not discredit the Columbus Blue Jackets. If the Columbus Blue Jackets opened up against any other team than the Pittsburgh Penguins, probably would have won the series.
Yeah.
Probably would have won the series. But this Pittsburgh Penguin team is just so good. I mean, they just do the thing the right way, and gotta be feeling themselves. They won last year. They're back in the playoffs this year, looking to repeat. I mean, they're doing it with the backup goalie and Fleury. Murray's not even in goal, and they're still winning. Dude, Penguins are feeling themselves right now. It's going to be hard to stop the momentum the Penguins have. Right now, the Penguins feel like the dream.
Right on, man. And their future odds, they are the odds-on favorite to win the whole thing, Dream.
No doubt, because I told you they was going to win the whole thing before the playoffs even started.
Plus 325.
Can I get a hallelujah? Can I get an amen?
Well, the thing is that, you got both of these teams here, and being the Washington Caps and the Pittsburgh Penguins, they're both in the East Stream, and they're the top two, which is kind of nuts how that all shakes out, so.
And the Caps are dope. The Caps are good, but the Caps can't beat the Penguins, in my opinion. The Caps cannot beat the Penguins. A little bit of a surprise came out of Montreal last night is the Rangers did beat the Canadiens. I was a little bit surprised with the outcome of that game. As I did like the Canadiens, I thought the Canadiens would win that game, but the New York Rangers showed a little bit of moxie and won that game. That's anybody's series. Don't ask me about that. Anybody's series right there. I didn't love that series at all anyway, but that's either team's series. And then last but not least, San Jose Sharks, my heart goes out to you. An incredible beginning of the season starts to look like it's off the hook. And then one of the biggest, I don't know, what I got to say, one of the, I won't say the biggest, but it was just an epic collapse.
Big time.
Epic proportions, an epic collapse. Go down last night. Anybody that was involved in this game probably thought, did Gino know what he's talking about because Sharks going to win. Sharks started up 2-0. And then they took it to, I believe, 3-1 at one point. It was 3-1 Sharks. Yeah, it was 2-0, and then it was 3-1 Sharks. And then all of a sudden, Edmonton woke up, came alive, and Edmonton ended up beating the Sharks. I feel bad for the Sharks because I made a lot of money at the beginning of the season. The Sharks helped save me at the beginning of the season. I made a lot of money with them. We all rode them for a while. They're exiting out. I think this team, they're a young team. They're really good. I don't know what happened to them this season. They got to do some soul searching in the offseason, and they got to figure some things out.
Got it.
The other thing I want to talk about hockey, though, is I don't know if you're aware of this, but right now, I don't know because we got to step back for a second with the Ranger-Canadian game. But you're looking at 4 Canadian teams moving forward in this playoff situation. And from a national television level, that really punches the NHL in the face.
Think so?
Well, no doubt, because the American viewers are not going to watch hockey. Unless you're a diehard hockey fan, you're not watching hockey if it's played by Canadian teams.
Yeah, I don't know, because last year there was not one Canadian team in the playoff stream.
Well,
so that was
dope. But that was dope for the NHL.
I don't think so. How would you? There's a lot of Canadians that watch hockey. Dream.
I'm not saying the Canadians don't watch hockey. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying from a network standpoint, not having Canadian teams right now moving forward, and not as many American teams moving forward, just hurts the ratings as far as NBC and those networks are concerned. For that major, you're trying to make a push to be the 3rd best sport in America. You want to get that spot baseball's got.
Yeah, I don't know. Dude, Canada is a huge place, and you know what? For no Canadian teams being last year, so you're saying basically you think the ratings will be less this year than they were last year?
I do, right? Because with Chicago out of the mix, you got no LA Kings in the mix. Their only hope right now. NHL got their fingers crossed that the Rangers can beat the Canadians, because then you'll have the New York market at least involved. But I'm saying from a network standpoint, they want to get these major, they want these major teams to in the playoffs because it's gonna bring views.
Got it. All right. So what else you got for hockey?
That's it, man.
That's
enough.
That's it. All right. Going over real quick, guys, to the MLB Diamond, and pretty much, all went to plan yesterday. The thing is that I really, really, really like interdivision underdogs that are plus 150 or more. When you hit like a plus 169, realistically, that's almost 2 plays. And the Phillies have just been a thorn in the Mets' side, Dream, big time. And they had, believe it or not, the Mets were down and they had Familia pitching. So that bullpen is very depleted right now. So that's something I took a look at. And the Phillies, I mean, they won a couple of games versus the Mets. So
did somebody say that the Mets was going to be dope this season?
Our co-host is not here to defend himself, Dream. Oh, man. All right, and one thing we did notice about baseball, guys, is when, a team played throughout the weekend and then had to return home on a Monday and have a game that night, those teams didn't do so well. So that's something to take a look at here. Moving forward, Dream, there was actually, there was nothing going on today, so no day games. But all weekend we got baseball going on. And Madison Bumgarner is on the DL, Dream, 6 to 8 weeks for getting into a dirt bike accident. Why would you do that during your season?
That's awesome.
I mean, the Giants are bad enough,
That's awesome that the bum would just get a dirt bike accident.
I mean, the San Francisco Giants, the last place San Francisco Giants, now just lost their ace. So they got to rely on the arm of Johnny Cueto to be their ace here, Dream. Crazy.
Why do you do something like that?
At least do it on the off season. Don't do it now. You live in California. You could do it any time. He's lucky he didn't get more. He's lucky he didn't get more injured than that. I guess his ribs and something else got injured on him. So, hey man, bad decision right there. I'm sure they're not too happy about being the Giants organization. So, Dream, you want to get into the NBA?
Let's get into the NBA, brother. We'll take it over to the NBA.
I think it's about that time. We need to have a conversation about it. And, we already started talking about this a little bit, guys, but I'm pulling it up right now. This is the NBA matchups, and you started it right off, and you said that you like the home team underdog on primetime, which starts in a half hour. Boston Celtics, Chicago Bulls. You like the Bulls getting the 2.
I like the Bulls getting 2. Like I said, I don't think the Bulls are going down at home tonight. Dwayne Wade, Butler, the crew should be enough. I think that the Celtics have been affected by the death of Isaiah Thomas's sister. Yeah. I don't know how you even go out and play basketball. Listen, I've never lost a sibling, nor do I ever want to, nor do I want that on anybody. But I can tell you this. If I was in that situation, I don't know how I would react. But the last thing I think I would want to do is play sports or go to work. Okay, I just need a few minutes just to get my head together. So that being said, I applaud what they're doing right now. I applaud, Isaiah Thomas going out there. And dude, don't make no mistake about it. A few of the guys that are on that team, and I don't know how close this team is, but it's the same situation like me and Hat. They're as close to him as I am to Hat. So whatever effect that's having on him, that's having the same type of effect on them as well. It's very hard to mentally get yourself together from a mental standpoint to think about basketball when you know that your boy is going through a tragedy or you've been a part of this tragedy that is what has happened to these Celtics. And my heart goes out to him because I feel so bad for him, and it's an awful time for him. And I know dude gets paid $1 million, and I hear that story too, and I understand it. But it is seriously hard to concentrate on that with knowing that that's going on in the backside. Sometimes you think players can uplift that and make that the reason for them to play. And I want to do that. We saw Brett Favre do it. I think it was a Monday night or a Sunday night game. I think it's a little different when it's a dad than when it's a sibling. When it's a sibling, it's like you don't understand it. When it's your father or your mother, I mean, we all know inevitably our grandparents, hopefully, and most of our parents are going to probably go before us, something that we've accepted. But when it's a sibling, it's somebody younger than you, you don't necessarily accept that, and it doesn't necessarily go over well. And I just think that's a lot for him to overcome. I feel bad. Hearts go out to him, of course, prayers and thoughts. But unfortunately, I think the Bulls beat him tonight.
Okay. All right. Good breakdown of that, Dream. All right, so I don't really like the game whatsoever. I am with you, though. I think the Bulls are, right now, the better team.
No doubt.
But I'd like to see how their absence of Rondo kind of affects them a little bit. I mean, maybe I'll get involved in a live wager or a second half play or something like that. I'm going to watch a little bit before I make that decision. Just because when you lose, I mean, regardless whether it's a key element or not, you're losing your fifth guy. So I mean, you got to put somebody in the place to start. So, all right. Next game I got on the ticket is the Houston Rockets at the OKC Thunder. OKC is -2.5 with an under-over of 224. Dude, there is no way in hell anybody in the world can convince me to go under on any of these series plays. There's just no way. These score so fast. That would be the most frustrating under I think I ever bet. What's your thoughts on this game?
OKC, talked about it before. I mean, both dynamic players, Russell Westbrook, James Harden, at any point, dudes just take off. At any point, transition can be implemented. They can make their own transition, even in half-court sets. Then you implement that everybody on the court just shoots threes from wherever.
Yeah, right. Whatever they want, yeah.
So, the under is definitely, don't even think about it. No now, I got to be honest with you. I like OKC here.
Yeah, I could see where you're going there.
I think it's back at OKC. I think they're going to be comfortable on their court. I think Russell Westbrook's going to make that step up. Like I said, I think this series goes 7 games. I don't see either team stealing a game. I don't see any surprises here. I see OKC rocking and rolling. I see Russell Westbrook living off the energy of the stadium, of the venue that they play at, and I see this team just sparking. I see the big men having success in the post. Cantor and Adams, we talked about them before. I think they'll have some success down low. I also see Russell Westbrook just going ham, doing his thing, shooting, driving the ball, creating offense, and I see the Rockets, just falling back and catching a loss. So, I like OKC to win the game. However, I don't know that I'm betting on this game.
I got a great play for this game. OKC first half. Because Westbrook runs out of gas. First half, he's gangbusters.
You know what?
That's my play.
You know what? I like that.
How do you not like it?
I love that. I think you're absolutely right. I absolutely love OKC first half. What's your numbers?
Oh, dude. I mean, right now it's only, 2.5? So what's a cut in half? Cut in half. It's like basically a money line. It's like it's like an even bet.
I absolutely like that.
All right, we're getting involved in that.
Absolutely love it.
I love it too. I think that's a fantastic bet. So we're going to get involved with the Oklahoma City Thunder first half. Dream, the first half money line is only 140.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, hold on. Wait a minute. No, that's the full game line. The first half is, they're actually, listen to this, they're minus 160 for the first half, Dream. So they're on to it. So if you get it, I mean, the minus two, I got no problem laying the -2. And the -1 is only minus 138.
All right.
I'll probably lay the -2 since it's one bucket. I'm at minus 115. Okay. That's my play, guys. So
yeah, you know what? I'm going to join you. And the consensus play for tonight for the SBTV program is we are on the OKC
Thunder first half.
First half to go bananas and be up 10 at the end of the first half, Dream. All right. I like it.
West, let's stay in the West, and let's go over to the LA Clips at the Utah Jazz. And the LA Clippers are favored in this matchup, minus 1.5. What's your thoughts here? Utah is not a bad team.
The Clippers, they look old, man. I've been watching this Clippers team. I'm sorry, gang. This Clippers team looks old to me this year. They just don't have the energy. I mean, Jordan looked good in his last game. I will get it. I will give it to him. He picked up his energy level a little bit. Looked like he was about it, kind of. This team, age and injuries have just set in. Chris Paul, dynamic point guard, but is not the point guard he was 5 years ago. You know, injuries have taken their toll. His size, not at that much of an advantage. It's taken over. Yeah, I know he makes that shot, and I know they look great in the first half, but a game is 4 quarters, and as this game tolls on, the LA Clippers show their weaknesses. JJ Redick, we're not getting any production out of him as of late. And Blake Griffin. The injuries have started to pile up. Griffin is a shell of his former self. The Lob City days, gang, are gone. All the high fly slamma jamma that we were used to out of this team, they're just gone. And this Utah Jazz team, pesty, fundamentally sound, play good defense, hands up, don't make mistakes, get rebounds, box out, do what you need to do to win, well coached. I'm sorry. I don't love this game, but if I had to take a spot tonight, I'd take Utah.
Utah Jazz kind of remind me of a better version of the Milwaukee Bucks. They really do.
But to me, not as offensively explosive.
No. It's a little bit slower. It's a little bit slower here. But you know what? I'm looking at this matchup here. We did talk about. I think
let me cut you off a minute.
Yes.
Utah Jazz remind me of a not as good San Antonio Spurs.
Yeah, that's a good analogy. Very good analogy. I got the Clippers winning this series, though. I didn't bet it, but I still think that they're going to pull this one out, Dream, only to lose in the next round.
How?
You think? Well, you don't think they're going to beat the Jazz?
I mean, they've lost the series lead.
Well, it's 1-1.
Right, because they lost one in LA, so they don't have the home court advantage anymore right now.
I mean, basically, the Clippers right now are minus 255 to win the series, so they're heavily favored here. If you like the Jazz, you could probably take the Jazz in the series plus 215, and then if they win this game tonight, then it's probably those odds are gonna flip flop, or be like even money or something like that. I don't know. I still think Clips emerge here. Not in this game per se, but I think in the series they do. So I don't know.
Okay.
I don't love the game, and I'm not getting involved. And I did pretty well with the Jazz this year, but they're 29-12 at home, guys. It's a pretty good team, and it's definitely a team that it's going to play the Clips very tough. So, Dream, you have any hockey for this evening? Because I'm seeing 2 spots here.
Couple of hockey spots. Let's get into the hockey since we're going to go over in that area. We got the Maple Leafs Capitals. Okay, Washington Caps. As far as I'm concerned, in this Game 5, I really like the Washington Capitals tonight. I like them to beat the Maple Leafs, but I'm not playing this game, so I'm going to recommend that you watch. I don't love this game. I like it. I don't love it, but I do like it.
All right.
On the flip side of that, you got the Boston Bruins playing the Ottawa Senators. Boston is going into the Senators. The Senators are home tonight and can close this game out this evening against the Boston Bruins. This is one of the Canadian teams that I talked about moving forward. I definitely like the Ottawa Senators to beat the Boston Bruins tonight. Ottawa, don't play around. Sense of urgency. Don't give Boston any life. Take them down tonight. Now, of course, if you're a conspiracy theorist person and you listen to me with my tirade about the NHL and the American teams versus Canadian teams, then you'll say, hey, you know what? The Bruins need to win because of networks and ratings. Look, stop it.
Right
Just
on.
do yourself a favor and stop it. Ottawa's going to try to finish this thing out tonight. They got him at home. There's no need to give Boston any life. I like the Ottawa Senators to get it done tonight.
All right, sounds good. So you like them to close out.
Yes.
All right, man. So we're going to move over here right now to the MLB. I'm just going to see if there's any spots here. I know that I have one at 7 o'clock, and I'm just going to take it because I like to take these. That's an interdivision matchup when you're giving me an underdog at home, especially plus 170. I know it's John Lester and all that, but I got to take the Reds plus the 170. Why not, Dream? I actually got it earlier at 169, so, it went up a penny. But I'm going to take them. They've lost 2 in a row, but the Cincinnati Reds have actually been winning some games this year. So I'm going to get involved with them. the thing about the Cubs is that no lead is safe if you're betting against the Cubs. Dream, twice last week they came back from, actually once this week and once last week, they came back from deficits and won the games. One of which I had the opposing team, and the Cubs scored 4 in the bottom of the 9th inning and beat me. I didn't hedge it. So, whatever. Yeah, I know. But I just, I felt very comfortable at that point. Like, super comfortable. All right, looking at the rest of the MLB going on here, and I don't really see anything that's tickling my fancy tonight, to be honest with you. You got Boston and Baltimore. That should be a very good matchup in Baltimore. Boston's putting Pomerantz on the bump. So that might be a pretty good AL East matchup, Dream. Texas putting Cole Hamels on the mound versus Nate Carnes with the Kansas City Royals. The Texas Rangers are pretty heavily favored. I don't mind that play, being Cole Hamels and the Texas Rangers, but I'm not going to go anywhere near that with my money. And I know that Dan loves to fade Corey Kluber, and they are playing the Chicago White Sox with Jose Quintana on the mound. And you know what? You get Quintana plus 145, regardless of how bad the White Sox are. Quintana's a hell of a pitcher, man. And he's 0-3 right now. He's just had a terrible, terrible start. Might not be a bad spot to take him to bounce back here, Dream. But my favorite is the Reds. That's where I'm at. All right? All right. So, that's pretty much it, man. That's all I got. I wish I had more, but I don't. I'm looking at the OKC first half is where I'm all over tonight, Dream.
Yeah, but what about your boy Big Sexy on the mound tonight?
Nah, not with the Braves. Nope. Not at all. One other spot I could tell you about in Coors Field. I know Dan has been pretty high on this kid. This is Tyler Chatwood. Plus 106 versus Johnny Cueto and the San Francisco Giants. San Francisco only minus 116 with Cueto tells you something. That the Colorado Rockies mean business this year. So, I'm not getting involved with Bartolo Colon, if you're asking me that. They're playing the Phillies, and that game is basically a coin flip. Atlanta's lost 3 in a row. And the Phillies, 6-9. I understand that, but they did beat up on the Mets. So, I'm looking. St. Louis got Wainwright on the bump, minus 114 versus the Milwaukee Brewers, but I'm not getting involved with that. That's all I got, dude.
Okay.
The hoop is where it's at tonight, Dream.
The hoop is where it's at. As far as I'm concerned, the hoop and hockey is always where it's at, as we're in the playoffs for hoop and hockey, and there's still 150 games left.
Yes.
150 plus games left of baseball. Hey, I know that you guys think that these guys really care, but when guys go on the DL because of a blister.
Yeah, right. Well, it depends. If it's
you got cats in the NFL irate right now with baseball.
If it's a pitcher, though, Dream, I understand it.
Yeah, I have. What a cat. By the way, I pay you $1 million and you talking about a blister?
You can't throw the ball. You can't throw the ball.
Ha, all right, because you're a business guy.
Yep.
So you got the house about to go up. You need it built right now, and you went to go get your team, and your guy that handles the nail gun says that he got a blister in his finger, so he can't show up to do the nailing. So you're good?
Nah, I got to make other arrangements. Which they do, by the way. They do make other arrangements. So it depends on how good he is if he still has a job or not. But, all right, man. So it's Friday, and I got to get my plays in.
Get your plays in. I got to get my plays in, too. I want to thank everybody that's retweeted this show. I want to thank VZ in the house, Terrence Mack, Joseph Del Rosario, Benjamin Rowe, one of the few that constantly send us some love, which I like, along with JC. Cash Action Bets. What's up? Good to see you out there as well, brother. Jimmy Wentz, Mo Diggs, Eddie E. Irvin is in the house. Always good to see Irvin. Dorinda Ann Fulton, good to see you out there. Welcome to the party. Mario Martinez as well. So many more. Jim Roman's a douche, hits me up. He catches the show a little bit later. Vegas Girl 92661, I know she's one of the faithful. Catches the show a little bit later as well. OJFB, so many more. Gang, tonight, the Consistence SBT name. First of all, we don't really owe you guys any plays tonight because we murdered last night. Okay, understand that. Okay, so if we were doing like packages, we would be right now trying to sell you the VIP package now based on we just made you like $10,000 last night, so you should buy the special hat package.
Right on.
Today. But like we do, I'm clowning, guys. Obviously, I'm having a little bit of fun with the show, so we want to have some fun at times at night, and it is Friday night. Here's the deal. The SBTV consensus is the OK City Thunder in the first half this evening. We absolutely love it. Hat loves it, and I love it. As far as I'm concerned, the Ottawa Senators is the play of the evening as far as the ice is concerned. We will be back tomorrow. We'll be on tomorrow morning, 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll do it all again. I'm the Dream. Always remember, we make the most of each and every day, as you cannot get this time back. And I also like the Chicago Bulls.
The Bulls, huh?
Yes.
That's a ballsy play, man. Well, I wish you the best of luck there, Dream.
Like the Bulls for the game, though. Bulls for the game. Don't love them, like them for the game.
Got it. All right. And there's some books here that don't offer a money line on the first half. OKC. So you got to lay it at -2, which I have no problem doing. And I'm going to do it right about now. Guys, we love you to death. Enjoy your weekend. We will be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. like Dreamstead Eastern Standard Time. Go out there and get that money. Let's go.
Hey.